This is one of my favorite go-to money plays in Madden 26. The play is out of the ever so popular gun bunch X nasty formation, and it is motion cross post. Now you're thinking to yourself, oh my god, yet another motion cross post setup here on YouTube. Aren't there like a million of these? Well, there are, and I'm gonna venture out to say that this is probably the most unique of any motion cross post setup that you will see here on the entirety of the YouTube platform. Let's break this down, shall we? And oh hey, welcome to 2026. So the biggest reason why I believe this is going to be so unique compared to every other motion cross post setup here on this platform is that we're actually going to be audibling into this play from a different formation. And that other formation is going to be the gun bunch tight end weak here in the Jacksonville Jaguars playbook. In order to pull this off, you need to make sure that you have motion cross post set as one of your 4 audibles, which as you can see here, we do. This is impossible to do if you do not have it set as an audible, so make sure you do this. In order to maximize the potential of the money play that I'm going to be showing you guys here, you need to make sure that your bunch X nasty is aligned to the wide side of the field, meaning you need to come out with your bunch tight end weak to the short side of the field. Let me explain that into further detail for you guys. So as you can see, I have the ball on the right hash, which means that my bunch tight end weak needs to be aligned to the short side of the field, which it is right now. When we audible into bunch X nasty, motion cross post, as you see, it will flip the bunch to now be aligned to the wide side of the field, which is what we want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to set up the play for you guys, and then I'm going to go from each receiver left to right and explain the entirety of the route combination for you guys. And here it is. So we will first start off with our furthest outside receiver. That is Deion Sanders, and as you can see, he is on a very unique route. I am actually going to be breaking down how to get routes like this in tomorrow's video. But the Spark Notes version of it is this. If you audible into a play that has an auto motion, and that auto motion player is going from one side of the field to the other, depending on where your receiver is, you can go ahead and put him on routes that will essentially invert themselves. So what this route actually is a short crossing route, but we are inverting it because this player is on the auto motion already, and we're essentially turning it into a speed out route. This might sound kind of confusing, but once again, I will break this down into further detail in the video that I'm going to be posting on the channel here tomorrow. And as you guys will see, this route right here that Deion Sanders is on is one of the best routes in the entire game. And you'll see why here momentarily. Moving on then to the point receiver of the bunch, I have him on a slot fade route. The slot fade route is one of the best routes in the entire game at what is called pulling zones or clearing out zones. This is a really nice job of clearing out deep zones further down the field while also pulling flat zones further out to the sideline as well. Now, optionally, you can put this player on a streak, but for me personally, and I think you guys will have more success with this, with him on a slot fade. Next up is the tight end. You can do a couple of different things with your tight end on this play. If they're running primarily zone coverage, I like this return route. But if they are running man coverage, a drag route was also good as well. We then move on to the solo receiver, which as you can see here, he is just on his stock crossing route. Optionally with him, you could put him on a hot routed, deep crossing route, or maybe even a post route, depending on what you want to do. Me personally, I like to actually go ahead and either leave him on the stock crossing route or put him on a hot routed deep crossing route. And then lastly is the good old running back sneak route, aka the crab route. As we know, has been one of the best routes in the entire game all year. It's a phenomenal check down route. It gets the really glitchy rat catch animation, and this does a really good job of pulling zones, specifically flats and hook curl zones towards the sideline, opening up the middle of the field. So that's the setup, boys. Here it is in its purity. It's super, super good pretty much everywhere on the field. And it's very, very good inside the red zone, which as we know is very difficult to score touchdowns in the red zone. Not only in this Madden, but in every Madden ever. So the primary read on this play is actually going to be our inverted short crossing route. As you will see, this route is deadly against pretty much everything, whether it's man or zone. They're going to need to pretty much dedicate a hard flat out here by their outside corner, or maybe even as a slot corner or a linebacker, in order to even have a chance at stopping this. The next player in the progression is going to be the return route by our tight end. Everything is flowing to the wide side of the field here. The running back is, the crossing route, the slot fade, and obviously the inverted short crossing route. Having this return route is definitely a backbreaker for your opponent because it's going to garner the attention of your opponent's user. And it's just a really, really great check down option for you over the middle of the field. The next read in the progression will be the running back sneak route. I don't really like to throw this on this setup, but it is there for you. Next would be the crossing route, and then lastly is the slot fade, which honestly I don't really look at all in this play. I only really see it if they, bust coverage on their defense. So let's finally go ahead and snap the ball, and we'll showcase to you guys just how good this route right here by Deion Sanders actually is. Toasty! Potential one play touchdown by just a simple little short crossing route that's inverted. Motion cross post, once again, when we audible the motion cross post, Deion Sanders is going to be the one that goes on the auto motion. When we hot route him to a short crossing route, this will in turn invert it and make it into that speed out that you just saw. Just like that. Once again, we'll break this down further tomorrow for you guys. And there's the setup right there. Return route, slot fade, crossing route, and you're done. And you see just how well that route gets leveraged to the outside. You'll see that, once again, that's a hard flat from the middle line or from the linebacker there. It stood no chance. You're going to have a cornerback being a hard flat. So our outside corner here, that's probably going to be the best way to go ahead and stop this, because against any man coverage, even right there, absolutely torches it. Now I do have route technician on Deion Sanders, so that definitely helps. Having those route running abilities definitely helps on this. But to be honest with you, you don't really need route tech. The route just wins naturally. Right there, that was the best that the CPU actually played on that. And then you can see we just break a tackle and hit our head on the goalpost. So big play potential by just throwing a simple speed out route. Now you're gonna have to be very cautious of your opponent's user. If you're playing someone who's good, they're gonna probably go ahead and switch stick that. And if they switch stick it, that is going to leave a lot of your other progressions on this play open, such as our good old tight end return route. As we can see, I'm gonna try to throw that here. And there you can see, well, actually, Shazier did a pretty damn good job of bagging that. But most of the time, once again, that's going to be your opponent's user on that. And yeah, they're going to be worried about that. If you hit them with that inverted slot or that inverted short crossing route a couple of times, they're going to be a little bit paranoid about it. And then, as you can see, well, we got absolutely screened out. The tight end is going to be an option for you over the middle of the field. If they're running any sort of backed off, zone coverage or anything like that as well, keep your eyes on the running back sneak route. There you can see it is definitely still an option for you guys. Even against hard flats, it's still pretty good. And the short crossing route is going to do a great job of actually pulling those hard flats to the sideline, which is actually going to leave you this window to throw the sneak route. Now let's go ahead and move the ball up here a little bit just to see how good this route combination is. Not only for inside like the 10 to your opponent's 10, but inside the 10-yard line as well. Ideally, I wouldn't run it anywhere inside the 5-yard line, even though it can potentially be good for you. I like to run this anywhere from the 5-yard line to the 10-yard line. So let's kind of just split the difference here, place it around the 7.5-yard line for you guys, and show that this is just equally as good inside the red zone. Once again, we audible into motion cross post, we invert short crossing route, turn, slot fade, and crossing route. When I get down here to the red zone area, this crossing route becomes a lot more of an option for you, because once again, we're pulling a lot of zones to the sideline with this with the short crossing route, and also pulling down hooks with this return route. That is going to leave the crossing route open in a great window over the middle of the field. It's going to be really difficult for your opponent to user it as well, because crossing routes do a phenomenal job of getting deep to the back pylon of the end zone. And I actually messed up the play there. Let me go ahead and redo that here really quickly. And once again, it's going to be extremely difficult for the CPU to guard it and for your opponent's user to guard it as well. Just everything's being pulled towards the sideline here and that is going to leave, there you can see, even against man coverage, because we get a knockout there on defense. Even against man coverage, it does a great job of getting separation, does that crossing route. So go ahead, this is going to be man coverage once again. And right here, our out route's probably going to be a good potential. There you can see, get the really good rack animation on that against man coverage. Just trying to showcase to you guys here that that crossing route is a viable option for you here in the back of the end zone. That was not an ideal read, but hey, Harold Carmichael, 6'8", absolute demon here in mud. So he went ahead and made that catch for us. So good stuff there from big number 17. And as you can see, look at how wide open the return route, the potential of that has right there. You see it just got absolutely butt naked. If your opponent doesn't put any sort of hooks on the field here, that return route is going to be money over the middle of the field. I think I've beaten a dead horse with this, boys. This, once again, is just an absolutely sensational route combination to run virtually everywhere on the field. Once again, once you get inside the 5-yard line, I'm probably going to go towards something else. Crossing route kind of ran a little wonky right there. We just have so many good options. This is a very, very tough route combo to defend. Be honest, how would you defend this? I don't know how I would, because it just does a phenomenal job of just beating everything. It really does. And there you can see crossing route is open over the middle of the field. Everything just gets pulled to the sideline. Everything gets pulled down, leaving that crossing route wide open for you guys. So there it is. There is the most unique motion cross post setup money play here in Madden 26. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Once again, tomorrow you will see a further breakdown of the auto motion inverted glitch route technique, whatever you want to call it. I'll explain that in further detail tomorrow for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this very simple yet extremely effective money play out of motion cross post in the bunch X nasty formation here found in Jacksonville Jaguars playbook. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Hey, before you go, did you like what you saw in the video? If you did, consider leaving a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you really like what you saw, consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell icon to be notified each and every single time a video goes live here on the channel. Here's a couple other videos on my channel that you might like. Thanks for tuning in.